I almost made it.
You almost made it. You did not make it. Hi, I'm Mike.
I'm Erin.
And we're here with another live live stream.
Yeah.
Is it live stream or live cast? There's different for.
I don't know.
Okay, he doesn't care. Live stream on YouTube as we're trying a little bit different approach this week. Last time we did it, which was what, a couple weeks ago.
It's been a couple weeks, yeah.
We used our phone and our Wi-Fi, which is horrible for some goofy reason. So this time we're trying a little bit different, and hopefully it works okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. So this week we wanted to sit down with you guys and actually get a chance to talk about what we have coming up in the next, I don't know, few weeks or few months.
Yeah, just the transition of summer is over, fall/winter is here,
Right.
and what that means for the ranch.
Exactly. So we've sold calves, so they're gone. We're done with farmers market, at least the summer farmers market.
Yeah. Oh, the dog needs in.
With the dog. So we're done with the summer farmers market. Winter farmers market is coming up, and Erin's going to tell you all about that and what all that entails. Hi guys, and Mark, hi, and JKU7, yeah, hi to you too, and hi to Samantha and Humphrey family Holstein cows. Erin wants a Holstein cow.
I do want a Holstein.
Yeah, she wants to milk cows for some reason, and William's here, and Justin's here. So even though he spelled your name wrong.
That's okay. That's happened my whole life.
Right. Is it, I don't know, the word, what's it, this is totally off subject, but the difference in the girl spelling to the guy spelling is, I don't know if there's probably some backstory to that.
I don't know. Different.
Right. So anyway, when you ran to let in the dog, we were talking about the difference between summer and winter farmers market and what's coming up for you and how that's going to change pretty much everything you do.
Yeah, so we are embarking on winter growing. This year we did some spring growing, last spring, and we talked about that when we did the Salanova lettuce and the spring farmers market in April. So we've attempted some cold weather growing, but now we're going to be really serious about cold weather growing and grow year round is the hope. So in the high tunnel we have scallions, carrots, spinach, and radishes planted right now, and they're doing great. And we'll hopefully have spinach and radishes in December, maybe November for the winter market. Might have radishes for the November market, but we have some holdover from the outside gardens and the summer garden still. Lots of pumpkins. We also have beets and turnips and carrots outside that will be fine even with the cold weather. So our goal is to have vegetables every month. Third Saturday of every month is our winter market. So our goal is to have vegetables every month. So.
Right. Justin says stupid talk and text. That must be the voice texting.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 So, that's our plan, is just to keep growing and providing more product for our local customers and try and grow in Wyoming in a zone 4 with no heat in an outdoor high tunnel.
Yeah.
So.
And it's the first time for us doing this, so it's very experimental.
I kind of think
Hi, Miranda.
Hi, guys.
Miranda's one of our Patreons, by the way.
Oh, hi, Miranda. Thanks for being a Patreon. So last spring when we did the spring growing before it was warm outside, that's kind of, we started in February when they went outside, or March they went outside, the lettuce did, into the high tunnel. But our days are getting longer then, our temps are getting warmer, so it'll be interesting to see how this first part of winter goes, where the days are shorter and they're getting colder, and we have to see how the crops transition through this really hard time. December and January are going to be cold days, short, less than 10 hours a day of daylight. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
So.
Hi, Alexander. So one of the things that we've been talking about here for a while is the new high tunnel.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of, I don't know if we've screwed people up, or people think it's here, it's ready to put up.
It's
so
not.
that's something we need to explain, because people ask, somebody just asked how the new high tunnel is coming along. It's not.
It's not.
It's still sitting in a factory somewhere.
So it hasn't even been ordered.
Right.
We did a grant for this high tunnel, and the first high tunnel we didn't do the grant process. So the grant process takes forever. By the time we finally got the approval paperwork, we were into fall. From the time I would order the high tunnel, it takes 30 days for it to be built and then put on a truck. It's a week for it to get here for us, or however long it takes to truck it. And then we have to build it, and that's going to take at least a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And then we either, the financials is kind of a tricky situation of it. So we either pay for it, but we don't get paid from the grant until we put the film on top, until we cover it. And so it becomes a financial question at this point of, do we want to, we haven't ordered it because I didn't want to pay for it and then not put the film on because weather could potentially be a big problem. It needs to be 55 degrees and sunny, and wind needs to be 6 miles an hour or less. So we have kind of held off on the high tunnel, on ordering it until we get into spring, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But we're going to do some prep work. We are going to level the site. It's pretty level, but we are going to level it, scrape the grass off, and then do some soil amendment and let it sit all winter and do some lasagna garden composting, kind of.
That's what we had for dinner. Dinner was lasagna.
Yeah, and I'm going to make some lasagna garden compost.
I imagine tonight's lasagna was a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right. Let's answer a few questions
Okay.
before we get too far behind here. Can you do a video on the difference between a cow, a steer, and a heifer? I don't know if I can do a whole video about the difference. Unless
just tell people.
But yeah, I mean, the difference between a cow, a steer, and a heifer. A cow is pretty much, you could call a bull a cow. I mean, really, honestly, but we don't. So I don't know why I said that. So a cow is a female bovine species type thing. A bull is obviously a male. A steer is used to be bull. Think, they're castrated bulls is what they are basically. And a heifer is a cow that hasn't had a calf yet. So if you hear me say replacement heifers, those are replacement heifers that those are going to replace cows in our herd. They're new heifers that are coming up that are going to stay in the herd. So that's a replacement heifer. There's a lot of weird terminology. It took me a long time when we first came here.
They're not a cow until they've had a calf. They're
Right.
a heifer, and what a heiferette is.
I still don't know the heiferette thing.
think-
If somebody knows what a heiferette is, you can let me know.
I could
but
be wrong, but isn't it a heifer that's been exposed to a bull but is not bred?
I don't know. Is Aaron right?
I don't know.
I don't have a clue. Somebody Google that.
We should look these things
We
up.
should probably know what we're talking about. How's the new high tunnel coming along? We kind of hit that one.
Yeah.
Use compost as a heat source. Have you thought about that? Can you use compost as a heat source here? Is it hot enough to actually make a difference when it's 0 degrees outside?
Yeah, our compost never gets super hot here during the winter. I don't know. We've got some manure. We could stick a thermometer in it and see what it is.
We should be taking notes, and then we could try some of this stuff. And
We are gonna use water bottles because that's super fancy.
Aaron likes her water
I
bottles.
like water bottles.
We save milk jugs for like all year
All year.
long, so that Aaron can fill them all up with water and put them in the high tunnel.
And we use rail cover, and then we use plastic. We use 6 mil plastic, and we'll just put in some aluminum hoops and put rail cover and then plastic.
Right.
And then the high tunnel.
My wife loves watching Aaron's gardening videos. She's talking about starting a new garden. Thanks, Aaron, for inspiring my wife.
Oh, you're welcome.
One thing that's kind of behind the scenes that we've never talked about is the fact that on our channel, very much, we do the ranch thing and we do the gardening thing and we mesh them all together, and we're trying to do that. One thing that I wouldn't say it upsets Erin, but sometimes does, is when she puts out a new gardening video, we tend to lose subscribers.
Not always.
Not
Once
always,
in a
but
great while,
sometimes
we'll-
it's like, whoa, what's going on? And that's just the people that are not.
It's different. It's not. I'm not talking about cows, and you'll see me help with the cows, but I don't do the cows thing. So, but the whole reason that I garden and why we talk about gardening on the channel is the diversification of our income source, and I'm going to talk about it in my video next week when I'm going to tell you more about the cold weather gardening. But it was just we needed diversification of income besides selling calves and the ranch, and so I garden. And like when I make apple pie filling and stuff, that has nothing to do with the gardens, but it has to do with farmers market, and people have seemed to be interested in the farmers market side of things, and so You get a little bit of everything with me.
Right.
And not cows.
How many calves do you have right now? How many calves do we have? We did have one calf show up after we sold calves. That was fun. One of our neighbors popped back over and said, "Hey, I have one of your calves," which was funny because we had one of theirs. So we had, when we sorted calves off that morning, we found a calf that wasn't ours. Mm-hmm. Erin found it, actually. I wasn't even paying attention. I just saw a calf, and she's like, "That's not our calf."
That's not
so that calf ended up. Why are you wearing a hat in the house? Last time I didn't wear my hat, people said they didn't recognize me and thought Erin was sitting here with some weirdo. So anyway, we had this neighbor's calf. We called them, said, "Hey, we have one of your calves." The very next day, they came down and dropped off a calf for us. So how many calves do we have?
We kept back 13 on calf selling day, seven steers to butcher, 6 replacement heifers. Just Mike and I have a small herd, and then, my mom runs her cows, and then the kids have herds. Mm-hmm. So we just kept back for us and the kids this year, and then the 7 steers that we will grain and finish for farmers market.
Right.
So.
Right. Normally, though, if you're asking how many calves we had before we sold, we have about 160 cows, so right around there on calves. So we did lose a few over the winter. Do you have one Galloway cow, or is it a cross cow? It's actually a cross. I don't know if it has.
White cow?
Yeah, white cow. Actually, there's 2 white cows, and there's the white steer. So there's actually 3 white cows out there. But I don't know if they're Galloway cross or not. The weird thing about this entire thing is we came here almost 10 years ago. We didn't work in ranching. We worked in an office. Me again?
I see a kid that needs help.
We didn't work in ranching. We actually worked in radio. And when we came back to the ranch, we inherited, basically all these cows. So people ask me, are they purebred? Well, no, they're not. There's Hereford, there's Black Angus, there's Red Angus in there, but we inherited them, so it's really out of our control. But for the white cows, I think I've heard something about them having some Galloway in them, but I don't think you'd be able to tell without a DNA test. So, hey, here's our heiferette's answer. A female bovine, usually more than 6 months of age and less than 2 years of age, that has had no more than 1 calf. Where'd she go? She left. So anyway, that's what a heiferette is. So if she's had no more than 1 calf, that totally makes sense. But there's lots of names for all this stuff that I'm still figuring out as well. So yeah. How are the hay yields this year? They sucked. We usually can get about a ton an acre from our hay fields, and we only get 1 cutting, but we can usually get about a ton an acre. And this year we got about a 1/4 ton per acre, so we ended up buying a bunch of hay to get us through the winter. And I think, tons of trucks after truck after truck after truck. So hay yield not great. We got our heiferette answer. Did you hear me?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's had 1 or now I got to look back at it. Less than 2 years of age, that has no more than 1 calf.
Oh, okay.
So that's a heiferette. But it's by the, we just call them cows by then. They go out with the cows. They breed with the bulls. Speaking of which, I think I skipped a question. This is Cheddar, by the way. This is our house cat, and he's super annoying. How many bulls do you have? We had 5. Well, we have 5 right now, but one of them is actually going to be sold. I was going to sell him this week. I was going to take him to the auction this week and get rid of him, but that was like the one nice day that we had this week. Yeah. So I decided to stay and get some work done, and rather than take him, he can hang out here for another week. Okay, I'm done with you. All right. How much cattle experience did you folks have before getting into farming? Zero, really. My dad was a professional ranch hand who, when I was young, really young, we moved a lot. We went from ranch to ranch to ranch, but really I didn't get that much experience into it.
The cats are fighting.
No, the other cat. I didn't. Hey, there we go. We're back. Okay, so I worked for her most of the time, and she told me that I needed to edge the like a sidewalk or something. Yeah. I had no idea what edging was, and I think I just kind of went out with a shovel and like chopped grass down or something.
There you go.
But yeah, so I figured it out. So
we missed a question.
We did.
Yeah, I don't think you answered it. Did you answer this one? Erin, do you have a day job, or do you just stay at the ranch and garden?
That wasn't a question for me, so I didn't answer it.
Oh, okay.
But that's a question for you. You can answer it.
I just stay home. Farmers market is my contribution income-wise to the family, and we have 3 small children. So, working outside of the home would cost me a lot of money because daycare is expensive. So yeah, I stay home. I don't really get to stay home in the summertime, but I'm here on the ranch. So yeah, no day job.
No day job. Okay. I just saw a guy on Guy in Wyoming is here.
Hi,
Blake
Guy.
is here.
Or hi, Blake. I call you Guy.
She does call you Guy all the time. That's that one guy. If anybody missed it, Blake stopped by the ranch here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was it a couple weeks ago? Last week. Something like that.
Right before
Stopped
we
by
sold
and,
Calves,
and
so.
of course I put him to work and had him look at a tractor while he was here, which I still don't have fixed. Sorry, Blake. But yeah, so Guy in Wyoming, check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance.
Definitely do. It's
Definitely.
great.
Where are we at? I'm totally lost now. How many acres do you have? How many acres? See, now, can we talk about this at all?
If you want to.
So that question it's not. I'm not bashing on anybody here, but that when you ask a rancher, and I had to learn this too. When you ask a rancher how many acres they have, it's kind of like asking somebody how much money they have in the bank. So I'll tell you, we have it's somewhere around 5,000 acres, somewhere in there. It's a lot, and it's a pain, and there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of fence. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So, $70,000 a year common expense for y'all for hay.
No.
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 I mean, if we can put up our hay, we want to put up our hay. I mean, that's kind of where we want to be, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. So.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you just have the expense of haying, tractor time, diesel, something breaks. But,
Right.
Generally we're not buying hay. So let's pray for rain next spring.
Yep,
So.
exactly.
What else can I answer? What year is the 6420?
What year is the 6420? That's a darn good question. Let's see, Gilbert bought that before we came to the ranch here. And, anyway, Gilbert bought that before we got to the ranch here. And he, actually had it sitting in the shop. He didn't use it. Can you tell this story really quick while I do this? 'Cause I have to remove some comments.
Is the 6420 the feeding tractor?
Yeah,
I don't know these things. So the 6420, it was new when we got here, but Gilbert had it for a couple of years, but they didn't drive it. And when we started feeding, we fed with the 6410. What's the other tractor with the loader?
6410.
Okay,
But
I
that
was right.
didn't have a loader at that time. That was the naked tractor.
Oh,
the other
okay.
tractor that had a loader was a 7210, but that tractor's long gone.
Okay, so
Okay.
we had another tractor with a loader that they'd always used to feed in the winter. Hi, Lincoln.
Oh, the other one that was out here?
Yeah.
6400.
Okay, so they.
There's all just numbers after
Okay,
numbers.
so the 6420 was new and no one was using it. It was just sitting in the shop with the plastic still on the seat. And we fed with another tractor, but there was no jump seat in it, no trainer seat, and so I would have to sit like on the wheel well on the inside. It was very uncomfortable. So we just asked Gilbert, can we use the new tractor to feed with? So because I would go with Mike every day. It was before we had children. So Gilbert let us start using it so that I could have the little trainer seat, and it made
Right.
my life a lot easier.
It still had plastic on the seat. I think it had like 50 hours on it or something like that. It was ridiculous. They just had it sitting there. It was a tax write-off, I think, for Gilbert at that point. But
So I don't know, 2006, but I think it sat. I heard stories that it sat on the lot for a while. Who knows what year it is?
I'm sure we could find out. I mean, I probably have it written down somewhere. Anyway, so the bull is going to be sold to another rancher, a packing house. He's actually he fought with another bull. He ended up hurting his back leg and I think one of his front legs. He's a little hobbled up. He'll probably just be sold to a packing house. So
We'll just take them to an auction, and a buyer will buy them, and they'll do what
I mean,
they
yeah, somebody could buy them and think they can rehabilitate him or something. It could happen.
Somebody just is going to buy them and do what they do with them. We don't really know what happens once the buyer buys them.
Yeah.
I mean, and Mike won't even go on sale day. He'll go the day before and drop them off. And,
Usually, yeah.
we won't even be there when he gets sold. So,
Out of scope of your channel, disposal of garbage, dead animals. Where do you get your mail? Hey, where do you get your water?
all right.
So here's some questions. Garbage disposal. We have a dump for like big crap.
We have a dump for like
Big stuff.
ranch garbage, like not like ranch garbage, but like a few years ago when Mike built the corrals, we had all that wood and stuff. So stuff like that like goes over to the dump area.
The dump is misnamed though, because it's not really a dump. It's a storage area for crap. Because you go back to the dump constantly.
Yeah, there's a lot of wood. There's old equipment. There's scrap metal.
Yeah.
Fence post. I mean, just
The
like
stuff that you can't see thrown away.
it's
I
like a
guess.
treasure chest of
Right.
rancher junk.
We also have an incinerator. I built an incinerator a few years ago, and that handles dead animals usually.
We have garbage pickup though, just like you have in town. You know, we pay for garbage service for like our house garbage and stuff.
Right.
So we're not like in the boonies where we can't get garbage removal.
Yeah.
We get our mail. Right?
Mail is a pain in that. It's a pain.
We get it right out on the highway.
Yeah.
We
We get mail 3 days a week.
Yeah, we're out of town, so we get 3 days a week from the post office. They do not bring us any packages. If Amazon ships something through the post office, we have to go to town, and it sucks.
Yeah. I was just talking to the UPS guy about that today. Yeah.
We like UPS. We don't like the post office.
Yeah.
Water. We have a well right out by the loading chute.
And there's quite a few wells around the place, different stock wells, for animals, all that kind of good stuff. We have a well for the house. There's wells everywhere, and those are another pain in the butt that I'm dealing with all the time. So, yeah. Commercially, do you do all commercial cattle sell some at auction? Actually, all of our calves are sold at auction.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we buy calves, sometimes we buy replacement heifers, not heiferettes.
No heifers.
Sometimes we buy replacement heifers. We'll buy those from a different rancher sometimes, just to get new blood into the herd. So those cats are just going crazy.
And here comes Lincoln.
Okay. Hi, Lincoln. Do you enjoy working with cattle more or making hay? That sounds like a Chris Ledoux question. Honestly, I like them both. Making hay is kind of a pain. It's one of those processes that seems to go on forever. So making hay kind of gets a little bit old. But you're outside. It's nice. That kind of thing. Working with cattle, that's year round. So you could be out there today. It was snowing sideways, and not even snow. It was like that hard ice crystal crap that's not snow, and it's pelting you in the face while you're out dealing with the cows. So. I don't know. I don't know if I really do. Do you enjoy working with cattle or haying more? You've helped me hay before.
I like the gardens.
She just changes the question. I'm not answering that question. I'm answering my own question. We did get a little bit of snow today.
Just a little. I don't know. You can still see the grass. There wasn't even enough for it to really stick. So there's a couple more comments you need to remove.
Hey, really? Where is this? No.
Right. Yeah. Down.
Have you ever? Okay. Wow.
All right, so I'll answer another question while Mike deals with that.
This is the wonderful thing about live stuff.
Yeah, so built-in incinerator, I'm always impressed by how you guys solve problems. That is a big thing that we have to do here on the ranch is, just figure out what the problem is and what the solution is. And Mike's pretty good at coming up with solutions. So
I totally missed the question. What was the question?
Built-in incinerator, I am always impressed by how you guys solve problems.
The incinerator was actually built out of an anhydrous ammonia tank. And it's basically a big propane tank.
In the dump.
And it was in the dump. Yeah. So.
Thanks for subbing, Case IH Farms. Appreciate that. Oh, and you sub to PA Farms. Yeah, those are both great channels. You guys should check them out. How much power does the wind turbine make?
2.5 kilowatts per hour. It actually does about a third of the power that we use here on the ranch. If we had 3 more, maybe we could do something more with it. But and what it doesn't actually make power for the ranch. It feeds power back down through the line. So
if the power goes out, it actually powers down.
It shuts off.
It made a lot of power today because the wind blew 40 miles an hour all day long.
Yeah, it sure did. So and it shuts off. If the power goes off, it shuts off, and it's actually for a good reason, because if it's making power and the wind's blowing while the power's off and there's a lineman down somewhere working on a line, it's sending power through that line. So it could actually, I don't know if it would electrocute them, but it'd give them a pretty good
graze all year round. You need 30 to 35 acres.
Right.
So, a lot.
Where are you at in here? I am totally lost.
Well, I went back up.
Oh.
Here you go. Here's a question for you.
Have you ever considered purchasing an engine-driven? Actually, I have an engine-driven welder for mobile repairs and power off the ranch. I do have one. I have a blue one. What is the blue brand? Miller. Miller. It's a Miller generator welder. I use it all the time.
Yeah, you do.
I think it's broken right now though because it's got a little idler problem. So yeah, but I do have one.
You drag it around a lot in the summertime. Okay. Let's see.
Do you burn and feed the ashes to your pigs and other livestock? No. No. Usually ashes just end up going away. So.
Windy up here in Montana as well. Cows were happy to see the tractor this morning. Yeah, our cows, they get happy in the morning too to see that tractor come out. They hear the tractor and they like come out of the barn.
They hear the tractor, yeah, they come running. Okay. Aaron scrolled way down in the comments here.
Sorry. Jeez. No, we already did those. We already did them. Yeah.
Let's just pause for station identification. How much power does your wind turbine make? Actually, there is a program for it. We were kind of talking about it. There's a program for it on the computer, but I honestly, 2.5 kilowatts per hour, whatever that is. Like your hat, Mike. This hat is my summer hat, which gets the crap beat out of it, and it stinks and everything else. But eventually, here soon, I'll be switching over to my winter hat and then probably a beanie cap before I freeze my ears off. Any artesian wells require power. Every well that we're using for stock tank, they're electric wells. We have a spring, but it just feeds directly into a pond, and nobody's really tapped into it. So I'm gonna ban this guy.
That's cool. You should do a hat giveaway.
Ban the right guy.
For the hat.
I want to ban the wrong guy.
You're wearing.
For the hat, give away the hat I'm wearing.
You don't want it.
Yeah. That'd be good, I guess. I don't know.
If somebody wants it, send us.
If somebody wants it, you can have it, I guess.
It's actually not that bad this year. I don't know. You've had hats that were.
I still have last year's hat, and it's like hammered crap. I mean, it looks like it went through a.
It did.
A ringer.
Your hat went blowing into the garden today when we were trying to cover stuff in the high tunnel.
I lost my hat. When did I lose my hat last time? And it was gone for quite a while before I found it again.
We lost it last week chasing cows around in the wind. So yeah, I guess
too early for snow. Keep your snow. We'll keep it. I really have no control over that, but I'll try. So.
Oh, this is a good one.
Did you ever wear cowboy hats for 2008?
No.
No, I had never worn a cowboy hat in my life, and we came back. And good on you knowing the year too that we came back here. That's impressive. When we came back, I don't think I wore one for quite a while. I was a ball cap guy for a little while.
Yeah.
And once I started losing my hair, I kind of became a ball cap guy. I used to be a hair guy, then I became a ball cap guy, and now I'm a cowboy hat guy.
I think that first summer you really started to wear a hat.
Did I?
It's hot out, and
yeah, and also Gilbert, Aaron's stepdad, he had issues with skin cancer.
Yeah.
So that kind of scared me a little bit. So I decided to go with the cowboy hat instead of a sombrero or a big floppy garden hat. I had a friend of mine who gave me a boonie cap, and I wasn't really too much into that. So yeah. So yeah, no, I did not wear any sort of cowboy hat, and every once in a while I'll wear a ball cap still, and it kind of throws people off too. Last winter I was wearing a beanie cap, like what they're called. Like a stocking cap, and one of our neighbors pulled in and and he didn't even recognize me. He drove right by me. He thought I was somebody just like walking around. So I guess the hat is the icon, and you have to, embrace your icons. So yeah.
Okay. What's the best mid-size power tractor to buy?
Somebody asked me that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a guy in Wyoming question.
Yeah, head over to Guy in Wyoming. Ask him.
Yeah, I don't know. Mid-size. I don't even know what a mid-size tractor would be considered. I guess I like the 6400 series, but I guess they're mid-size. They're about 95 horse, and this Erin's like bored. Her mind's like wandering. It's like when she starts talking about shoes, and then I kind of drift away.
When you start talking about IP addresses and networks and stuff, I go blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6400 series, mid-range, mid-size. I don't know. I would go with that.
Depends what you want to do with it.
Yeah, talk to your John Deere dealer. They'll sell you something. Trust me. Building a fire tank out of something combustible. It was empty. Trust me.
And it had been sitting there.
It had
for
been sitting there
time.
a long time. Yes, I was not in any danger of blowing myself up.
No.
So, I'm in plenty of danger of blowing myself up almost every day, but that day I was not in danger of blowing myself up. No different than building a barbecue. Okay, well, a little argument going on. Okay.
I think they're just discussing.
They're discussing. That's cool. I don't know if you guys are hearing this or not, but there's a.
Let's see. Let's see something that I can find. Mike's working on getting us back online. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm not the rancher. So, what's the most powerful tractor we have? The farm tractor, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's the 4055.
4055 John Deere. How many horsepower?
Right around 100, 110.
That's our biggest tractor that we have. We don't farm a lot, so we don't really need a lot of horsepower. Biggest implement we pull is...
Hey, I'm back. Hi.
Hi. What's the biggest implement you pull?
Well, it used to be a 30-foot cultivator, but I got rid of that. So now the biggest out is probably about 24. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't do a lot of farming, so we don't really need a lot of horsepower tractors. So
hopefully the internet issue is fixed. So last week
did you forget? You forgot to.
I totally forgot to plug it in. So the problem that we had last time we did this was we were running off the Wi-Fi, like I said in the beginning of this whole thing. So we got a nice long Ethernet cable to plug in, which I didn't plug in. So will you do another Q&A? Where are you? Are you somewhere in here?
Go up. Oh, there's ship stakes. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys increase the side of your herd? We don't. So the size of the herd is based on the amount of land. Is pretty much what dictates how many cows you can have.
The only thing that really fluctuates is depending on how old the cows are and how many empties you have and how many we have to cull, which we'll talk about when we preg check cows and stuff. And then, so sometimes you might see like a drop one year and then the next year you'll keep back replacement heifers and, so we kind of have a range that we fluctuate in and we have a number that, we want to stay at based on acres and stuff. So
Matt lives on 1/8 of an acre. He said, I can't imagine your land. Mrs. Mike. That's weird. I've watched all your videos. Steak recipe. Oh, the steak recipe. I totally forgot about the steak recipe thing.
Been a while.
If you ever want to make a really good steak, go back a little ways, find a video called A Rancher's Steak. That's how Aaron cooks steaks for me, and that's pretty much the only way I'll eat a steak. I even go to restaurants now and I can't get a steak. It doesn't work.
I've spoiled you. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad it turned out well for you. So thanks for, following my recipe. That makes me pretty happy. So, and as far as living on 1/4 of an acre,
1/8 of an acre.
1/8 of an acre. My gardens are bigger than your lot.
They are.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It happens. Do another Q&A on Reddit. So back in February, Reddit, if you don't know what Reddit is, reddit.com. It's the front page of the internet.
Yeah.
We did a Q&A, and Ask Me Anything is what it's called, and it went on all day long. But it was great. We got lots of good questions.
We got a lot of new viewers to the channel, a lot of subscribers. It was really, we enjoyed it. I mean,
it was fun.
We did answer questions.
We answered questions all day long.
Who knows if it would ever be that successful again?
I don't know if it would, but the cool thing was and this is totally off subject, but the very next person who did an AMA right after us was Bill Gates. Yeah. That was pretty cool. So it was kind of cool to see our name and then Bill Gates right underneath us. Not that he gave a crap about who was next to him. I'm sure he didn't care. But we were like, "Ooh, yeah, Bill Gates." How many hats do you go through each year? I go through this one. This is pretty much my throwaway hat. This is the black Stetson that you'll see me wearing in the wintertime, as long as the wind's not blowing 300 miles an hour.
Mike wears a beanie all the time, or a stocking cap in the winter when it's
usually
cold. So the hat's just more like a going to town hat. The Stetson is expensive, so he better not go through them. Just a summer hat and a winter hat, and then you have a nice straw hat for.
I do have a nice straw hat, so yeah, I have 3. I rarely wear that nice straw hat though.
You wear it to farmer's market.
Every once in a while. If I don't wear this one, and then people look at me funny.
Not the hat you're wearing. One like the hat you're wearing. Oh yeah, we could do a hat.
Oh, you don't want this one? Come on. This is a $30 hat, man. I don't even know what brand this is. It's all worn off.
We could do a hat giveaway, maybe. That'd be kind of cool. We'll figure that out. And
This
see.
is George Strait's hat. I stole it from him.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I did meet George Strait one time. That was kind of fun. Tubs or liquid mineral? We actually do tubs. And if anybody has no idea what Josh was talking about, you can go back to a video called They're Not Rocks, They're Minerals. And that's where we explained what lick tubs were. And basically, it's vitamins for cows. And each one of them weighs about 250 pounds and will squash your toe in a second. So, yeah. So there you go.
There's more questions.
There is more questions. Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you ever had to shoot a coyote? I've had to shoot plenty of coyotes. Yeah, it happens. They get brave. As long as they stay miles away, I don't care. I mean, honestly, they can do their thing. But they do get brave and they get up closer to the house. This summer or this early spring, we had one that was just we were getting ready to start calving. And he was right in there with the cows, and I would go out and feed, and he would sit there and just stare at me about 50 feet away. And that was probably about the last mistake that he made, was getting too friendly. And
we try, that's like Mike's saying, as long as they stay far away and they stay, away from the home pasture and stuff, we don't go out looking for them. We do have some people that come out once in a while and call them and take care of them. But, we have chickens and they free range. So when they start messing with the chickens, and we had a big fox problem last summer.
right.
We have a county trapper that will come out and help take care of the fox problem and coyotes and stuff too. So we do try and manage them, but we're kind of of the opinion too, if they leave us alone, we'll leave them alone. So
Yeah. Have you ever considered using horses in lieu of four-wheelers? Gilbert hated horses, so we never had horses on the ranch. I'd ridden horses as a kid and stuff like that, but I wasn't like a avid horse rider. When Gilbert passed away, we decided to get a couple horses. One of those we ended up having to put down, and then we got another horse, and they're kind of like big dogs. I mean, I go and hang out with them every once in a while. I don't get to ride as much as I'd like to. It's hard when you got to go out and get a cow. You can't. First of all, our horses are across the highway, and that would be kind of a pain in the ass. But I said a bad word.
No, no.
Oh no!
Oh,
I'm gonna get an email now. Oh, damn it! Oh, I did it again. Okay, so I love my horses, but they are kind of like big dogs.
Yeah,
so.
we don't, and I don't ride, and I didn't grow up riding. There actually is a horse barn just back behind us, and she does lessons and training and stuff. And Mackenzie turns 8 this winter, and she doesn't know it yet, but I think for her birthday she's gonna get some horse lessons.
Oh.
She can start taking lessons once she turned 7 this year, not 8. But she can start taking lessons at 7, and so I think Mackenzie will get some lessons. We don't have a horse that the kids can ride, so that's kind of on the to-do list, is find an old horse for the kids to ride. And I might take some lessons with Mackenzie, and maybe I'll learn how to ride. I've been on horses, but
You rode Rusty. Rusty
I
was the
don't
horse that
really-
we ended up having to put down.
I don't really know what I'm doing. So I need like the 25-year-old horse that just like trots through the field.
Does
and,
its own thing.
Yeah, and the kids need that too. So yeah, I think eventually we might use horses
Right.
more.
And I can ride a horse, and I've ridden horses, like I said, a lot when I was a kid. And Hyro, which is the main horse that I have that I can ride, he's half draft, half paint, and he's huge, and he thinks he's a barrel horse for some dumb reason. So it's kind of it's one of those things I wish I could do more. What does it cost for the sonograms for the cattle? Do you remember how much which was charged for each one?
I don't know how much they charge. $3 a cow or something
like that. Yeah, it's not
$2 to
it's not
$3
horrible.
per cow.
And it's worth it.
Yeah.
So, George should come to the farm for a concert. Yeah, George, come on up.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Chicago, Pizza and Italian. I have another friend in Chicago that is a paramedic in Chicago that we met through the channel as well. And Matt, if we're ever in Chicago, I'm totally hitting you up for pizza, man. I don't know when was the last time I haven't been to Chicago for years. When I worked in radio, I was in Chicago a couple times. So.
I've never had Chicago deep dish pizza.
I'm gonna make Matt mad.
What?
I don't really like deep dish pizza. But yeah, they look at you weird if you ask for thin crust when you go into a pizzeria. So yeah.
thank you everyone that found us through Reddit. That's cool. We did, a big chunk of our subscribers have come from Reddit.
Here's the other interesting thing about Reddit is a lot of people, we got a lot of subscribers through Reddit, and we lost a lot of subscribers through Reddit, I think, that, just subscribed and then never came back. So I'm glad that some people stuck with us through it. So.
Okay.
You deal with a lot of coyotes.
75-mile straight line winds and temps dropping in the 20s.
Texas.
Humphrey, family Holsteins. Woo. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Yeah, yesterday it was 77 degrees here and nice and beautiful. In fact, that was when I was going to take that bull to market, and I ended up not because it was really nice. So 77 degrees here yesterday. Beautiful day. Today our high was 32.
Yeah.
And we had winds blowing 40 to 50 miles an hour all day. So just that much change. Tomorrow I think we're back up in the 50s.
40s or 50s or something, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll probably try to get some work done. So, I've lost lots of hats in the wind. I lost one in the pond.
One did fall in the pond.
Yeah, and I had to swim out and get it. That was fun. I actually wasn't swimming; it was more like sloshing through the water. But I had to dry that, and that was my Stetson too. Yeah, I got out of the tractor and it blew right off my head. Yeah. And that one landed in the pond. That was not a good day. I said a lot of bad words that day. So, yeah.
All right. Todd, love your channel. Really miss ranch life. You help me keep in touch with my youth. Youths. I'm glad you enjoy it, Todd. Thanks for coming along for the ride with us.
Were you all ever planning on having kids, or just I found it unusual that you had kids so late?
Late? What are you talking about? We're not old.
Well, he's probably young, so if he's under the age of 30, we're old.
We'd always planned on having kids. If we had not changed careers, we might have had them a couple years earlier.
See, that's before we came here. I mean, we were career-minded. Yeah. Corporate stooges. Honestly, like I started out in radio as a DJ, but eventually I worked my way up to where I was not really in the booth or in the DJ booth that much, and if I filled in for somebody, I would do that occasionally. But I was more a manager, at some point. So.
Are we old? I don't know. Did we have kids late? I guess maybe we did. I don't know. But.
Did we? I did. It's not a bad thing, I don't think. And I talk to people that, they're glad. I know people that have had kids when they were 21 and now they're 40 and their kids are out of the house and they're happy about it. But then I meet other people who say that, I wish I would have waited. So, totally off topic, but yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, and Blake said, horses are the way to work cattle. Blake, you are more than welcome to bring your horse up here anytime you want. And actually, what you could do, Blake, is you could come up and train my horse.
Yeah, there we go.
That would be even better.
Thanks for doing this live stream. Do you ever lose power for long periods of time in the winter? Not really, no.
The first year that we came here in 2008.
It was 2009. It was spring.
Oh, the storm. We came here. Came here in 2000. You're ruining my story, man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to build up to it. I'm building a foundation to lay this story on top of. So we came here in 2008. In 2009, we had a giant spring storm, and we lost power for long enough that I needed to hook up a generator. I remember that.
Just half a day, probably.
Yeah.
And that was a fairly large storm. There was a couple feet of snow, and the wind blew 40 miles an hour, and. They're pretty good about getting our power back on for us. Sometimes we lose it for a couple hours, but nothing major. So about half a day was our longest since we've been here. So.
Yeah. Does the hoop house stand in that wind? Well, this is where Aaron wakes me up in the middle of the night. I can't sleep because the wind's blowing and I'm worried about my tunnel.
So I woke up at 2:30 last night because the wind is blowing and didn't really go back to sleep because I just lay there and worry about the cover coming off. Moves and it's intended to move, but the wiggle wire does kind of wear through the plastic. So the cover that we have on right now actually is showing quite a bit of damage on the south side, and the very fancy way to fix it is you put tape on it. So it probably next spring or next summer we'll replace that cover. We do worry about it all the time. We have just learned, we framed out the end walls. And we just check it consistently. All the billow rope on the sides has to, if you lose some billow rope, it can cause the roll-up sides to swing out and you get a lot of movement and that causes a lot of wear and tear. And we just check it a lot. So we've just, and we learned how to secure the roll-up sides too. because there was no instructions on how to secure the roll-up sides so that the wind doesn't come in there. So we've learned through trial and error and 2 covers. We're on our 3rd cover. But it is what it is. So it was just a learning curve that we had to get through. So.
Right.
But as far as the actual structure and the frame, like that is all concreted in, and we bought the extra anchoring kit, and so there's extra anchors concreted in on each hoop. So we don't worry about the structure, we worry about the plastic.
Yeah,
So.
we actually have a neighbor that has one, and it's bigger than ours. It's 96 feet long, and they park a truck in it and tie the tunnel down to the truck when they're not using it. So.
And the wind blows like 50, that's not uncommon around here. It's when we get up into the 70-mile-an-hours that's when we...
Yeah, it's one of those, I think there's a threshold when there's a sustained, 60-mile-an-hour wind, something's gonna give. Yeah. Something has to. Justin turns 30 on December 9th. So he is under 30, so you said we're old.
Well, I was under 30 when we started having kids. Was this the kids question?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we just had 2, I would have been under 30, but we had 3, so.
She's a little bit younger than me.
A lot younger.
Big cradle robber. What's your primary forage? Hay, grass. Yeah. Hay and grass. Forage, yeah, that's pretty much it, so.
Yeah.
With the wind, what kind of life do you have out of the material covering the high tunnel 5 mil? Is it 5 mil?
It's 6 mil. It's 6 mil, and it is IRAC coated. So that means there's a spray on the inside of it. It comes with instructions on which way to place it. This side down, it says on the inside of it, because we pay for coating, infrared and anti-condensate. The infrared helps keep infrared rays in, helps keep temperature warmer at night, and anti-condensate so it doesn't build humidity and drip on the tomatoes, which would cause things like powdery mildew and funguses and whatnot due to the high humidity.
So this is where I told him.
Yeah, that's like when he talks about IP addresses. It is just 6 mil plastic. There's all kinds of different... If you look at greenhouse plastics, if you're bored one day, there's all kinds of different plastics you can get, different thicknesses. 6 mil is kind of the standard, but the coatings that you can get you can cater them to your growing needs. So there's stuff that helps with cold weather, stuff that helps, like in Florida, it's hot. You want stuff that helps cool it. So greenhouse plastic technology is really actually pretty amazing. So it should, ideally, the plastic will last 4 years. They say 4 to 6 when you buy them. Kind of around here it's 3. So if we...
or 6 weeks or a month.
We made it like a year and a half with the first one. This one has gone through 2 summers. So if we make it through another growing season with it, then, we'll have 3 seasons. And that's probably going to be our standard. So if I get 4, great. Part of the damage that it does has is we put it on when the wind was blowing like 8 miles an hour. We should have done it when it's blowing under 6.
We do live in Wyoming, however, and
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough to get days where you can.
So we had to later, we put the plastic on, put the wiggle wire in, and then another day we had too much. You want it to billow and you want it to float above the structure, but we had too much, so we had to take it out and then put the wiggle wire back in and stuff. So, we're learning. So,
if you had a choice, what kind of cattle, what breed of cattle would you run? Up here, I mean, it is pretty much Black Angus, Red Angus, some Herefords, and that's what buyers buy here.
I want a Highland cow.
Aaron does want a Highland cow.
And
those are the big hairy ones, right?
Yeah.
The furry ones, but they have horns. Don't they?
Little horns.
Little horns.
It'd be cool to have a Galloway.
Yeah.
And I want a Holstein.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're in Angus country, so that's what buyers want. That's just what everybody runs, is some form of Angus. So.
What's the story with the little international tractor? That is an International 606. It's 1960. This one I know the year is 1966. Actually, now I think about it, it might be a 1966. It's basically, we pretty much just use it in the gardens. It doesn't have a cab on it, so we get spoiled with the John Deeres with the cab and the air conditioning and heaters and things like that. It actually has 2 flat tires right now, and it is sitting because I haven't had a chance to get the tires off of it, get the tires fixed. There is a funny story behind that. That's the tractor that Gilbert ran over himself with, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Gilbert, my father-in-law, was starting it up or something. He was standing next to it and it was in gear, and he started it and it ran him over, and he laid underneath it for I don't even know how long before an ambulance got there.
Yeah, my mom was hadn't seen him out driving around on his Gator or his 4-wheeler or whatever he was using at the time. So just went to check on him, and yeah, he had ran over himself and was laying underneath it. So yeah, don't start it standing next to it.
Don't start a tractor standing next to it.
But that was before things like safety regulations. And
that was before OSHA.
Yeah.
So, not that we have OSHA stopping out. Well, we do. We don't have OSHA stopping out, but we do have OSHA in town. I had a friend of mine that got popped by OSHA.
Yeah.
So. With all the land, why would you not grow corn to feed the cattle? That is a darn good question.
There's no water here.
Water.
We have no irrigation, and we do not receive enough annual rainfall to support corn. Corn needs a lot of water and a lot of nitrogen, and our soil is topsoil lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So we are very nutrient-less in this part of the country as far as soil. Our topsoil is only about 2 inches deep. Yeah, and we have no irrigation.
With the wind blowing, I mean, you can see it out here when the wind blows, and like you can just see the topsoil leaving.
It just leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be great. We would totally grow corn and supplement feed the cattle if we had water. So.
Yeah. Controlling the heat inside the high ton.
Can you control the heat inside? Yeah. So the sides roll up to 5 feet. You can open the north and the south side. We have roll-up garage doors in the east and the west, and so that is our only. I mean, we can cool the tunnel, and it does get really hot in there in the summer, even in the winter if it's 20 degrees outside, but it's a sunny day, it'll be 80 degrees in the tunnel. So yeah, opening the sides and the end doors and stuff is how we control the heat. We can't make it warmer, unfortunately.
Build a big old bonfire and burn it down.
So yeah, I mean, we're determined, the heat in the tunnel is based on how much sunshine we've had. We do close it early in the day if it's going to be cold at night and stuff, about, like this time of year, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, high tunnel gets closed up if we are trying to trap as much heat as possible. In the summertime when it's hot, we do close it every night in the summertime, because the deer are always nuisance, even with the snow fence and stuff up around it. But we wait until it cools off at nighttime.
We got a couple truck questions. Tell us about your truck, please. I don't know. Are you talking about the F1, the F350, or are you talking about the Model T? Because there's 2 Ford trucks here. The Model T is a 1924 Model T truck. It's a 1-ton truck, and it runs like a top. You can go out and fire it up and take off in it. I wouldn't drive it down the highway. I wouldn't drive it too far because I wouldn't trust it. But that's the Model T. The Model T, it's not that hard to keep running. It's like a glorified lawnmower engine in it, pretty much. Not hard to get going. It actually sat in the barn for years and years and years, and then we decided to get it out. And I think I was bored one winter. I didn't have much going on, so I said I'm going to get the Model T up and going.
Yeah, it was like a project thing for you in the winter.
Yeah, so that's the Model T. The F350 is a 2008. Yeah, 2008 F4 350. It's a gasser, so it's getting up there in mileage, and it's starting to kind of wear out a little bit. It doesn't pull as good as it used to. It did pull great at when it had lower miles, but as the engine gets older and gets worn out, that's what happens to those gas engines. So I think our next pickup will probably be a diesel. I think that's kind of the direction we're going to end up going with that. So yeah. We ran out of questions, so this gives us a chance to finish up where we started, because we are coming to the end here. Coming up, we're next week, Erin's going to put out a video about winter growing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about. You guys gonna get to hear like the backstory on the gardening, and how I came to be a market farmer, and we're gonna talk about how I'm gonna grow in Wyoming in a zone 4 with no heat.
Right.
And we'll start the winter veggie journey, and we'll see if it's gonna work, and you guys can find out along with us if we can do this or not.
Yeah, it's a total experiment.
It's a big experiment.
Yeah.
So.
For me, we got preg checking coming up. We've got to do that here before too long. We get into feeding. We've got a few projects planned in the shop. We've got this week's video is actually going to be a little bit different. If you ever watch that show American Pickers, it's gonna kind of be along those lines as we take a look around the ranch and see what we can find in these old barns and sheds and things like that. So that'll be a lot of fun. A couple of really quick questions. How many miles on the three? Blake, I think you were in it. You were in the F350. How many miles on? I think there's like 150,000 on it or something like that. But yeah, so another ranch, you have a good payday at auction. It was average. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad, and hopefully it's enough to get us through another year. That's all we ask for.
Calf prices are not. They're not what most ranches need to run the ranch. So
yeah, I agree.
We didn't do bad, but.
And that's why we do so much other stuff. That's why we do the farmers market, and we do the gardening, and we do the steers and the pigs and all this other work that we have. And that's all.
Say hi.
That's why we do all this other stuff, because obviously if the ranch had to support itself just with the calves, I don't think it could do it, honestly. It'd be pretty tough, just the way the cattle markets fall or rise and fall. Cattle markets are all over the place. So that pretty much wraps it up for us tonight. If you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe. Click that little bell icon on there, and then that'll make sure that you get an alert when we put out a new video. Every Sunday morning, 7 a.m., we're putting out our ranching video. Anybody want a 2-year-old, you can have him. He's free. He's housebroken. Well, he wears diapers. Yeah, so we got that coming up. Aaron's splitting on me, so now I'm just going to sit here for another hour and a half. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to say goodnight. Make sure you subscribe. Find us on Facebook. Aaron does the Instagram thing too. By the way, if you're talking to us on Facebook, you're probably talking to Aaron. Every once in a while I'll jump on there, but I'm not a huge Facebook fan. She also handles the Instagram thing. So she's got a video coming out next week. We've got a video on Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Aaron's video will be out next week, and hopefully we'll be able to do the live stream thing again. If you guys dig it, we will be back. So thank you for coming out and joining us tonight. And
Hey.
Have a good night.
I was just reading the comment. Yeah, have a great night, and we'll catch you next time on Sunday morning. We're going to do a little picking. Have a great night, and thanks for joining us in our Wyoming Life.